Good day everyone. For today's video, we are going to tackle a collection of 5 outstanding 21st century Philippine literary pieces. Let's have the first piece of literature entitled Servant, which was published on 2006 by Bienvenido Lumbera. The poem tackled what it is like to be enslaved and the feeling of being one. Further, it reflects how a person belonging to the lowly class feels toward the people above them or those that possess great wealth and power. Lastly, it describes the poor struggles in surviving and ending up as servants and slaves who work and serve others to earn a living. Bienvenido Lumbera was a Filipino poet, critic, and dramatist. He served the Philippine Comparative Literature Association in 1969, the Pamana ng Panitikan ng Pilipinas in 1970, and Galian sa Arte at Tula or GAT during the martial law. He earned the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Journalism, Literature, and Creative Communication Arts, Pambansang Gawad, Pambansang Alagad ni Balagtas from Union ng mga Manunulat ng Pilipinas or UMPIL, the National Book Awards for Literary History or Literary Criticism from the Manila Critics Circle, the Carlos Palanca Memorial Award for Literature, the Philippine Centennial Literary Prize for Drama, and the Cultural Center of the Philippines Centennial Honors for the Arts. He became Professor Emeritus of the University of Philippines and in 2006 was named National Artist for Literature. As a reflection of the Philippine culture, just like how the poem Servant tackles what it is like to be poor, to struggle and to serve other people, and become slaves, we can see how almost all of our people too suffer the same fate due to the lack of enough resources and stable jobs. They too become servants who answer to other people's orders. For the second literary piece, we have Ang Bisikleta ni Monmon by Rebecca Año-Nuevo. Ang Bisikleta ni Monmon was published on 2003 by Rebecca Año-Nuevo. Is a short story about a child, Monmon, and his bicycle. While his neighbors are sporting brand new bikes, Monmon is stuck with his old shabby one. Yet Monmon remembers all the good times he and his bicycle shared, and he suddenly realizes that his bike does not seem that old and ratty anymore. The author, Rebecca T. Año-Nuevo, is a poet, translator, essayist, and critic. She teaches literature and writing subjects in Miriam College. She was the chair of the Department of Filipino and in the University of Santo Tomas. She is the author of 6 books of poetry, the latest being Isa Lang Ang Pangalan, published in 2012 by the UST Publishing House, and has received numerous awards from the Don Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature for Poetry, Essay, and Short Story in Filipino. Her book titled Talinghaga ng Gana, Ang Banal sa Mga Piling Tulang Tagalog ng ika-20 siglo won the National Book Award for Literary Criticism from the Manila Critics Circle. Rebecca Año-Nuevo's short story shows significance to the Philippine culture as it mirrors a great Filipino value, which is being sentimental and putting great importance on people or things they share great memories with, just like how Monmon realizes the memories he once had with his bicycle. And the third piece of literature in the 21st century is Pedagogic by Cirilo Bautista. Pedagogic, published in 2008, is a poem by Cirilo Bautista that talks about how a teacher of passion endeavored to teach people about everything they must know, since he saw that they were intellectually dying or not getting the education they needed or their mental capabilities were waning. In the poem, the speaker thinks he has succeeded and has beaten the nearing intellectual death of these people due to the lack of learning. But he realizes that he was wrong, as these people start to reject education. Also, the poem shows people's close-mindedness and anti-intellectualism as they began to rebel and got distressed about being taught. The author Cirilo F. Bautista was a Filipino poet, critic, and non-fiction writer. He was Professor Emeritus of Literature at the College of Liberal Arts de La Salle University, Manila. He was also a columnist and literary editor of the Philippine Panorama and the Sunday Supplement of the Manila Bulletin. He was a member of the Board of Advisors and associate at Bienvenido Santos Creative Writing Center of De La Salle University, Manila. He is also a senior associate of the Center for Creative Writing and Studies of the University of Santo Tomas. He was conferred the Order of National Artist in 2015 by the Philippine President Benigno C. Aquino Jr. and also received Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for poetry, fiction, and essay in English and Filipino, as well as the Philippines Free Press Awards for Fiction, Manila Critics Circle National Book Awards, Gawad Balagtas from the Union ng mga Manunulat ng Pilipinas, the Pablo Roman Prize for the novel, and the highest accolades from the city of Manila, Quezon City, and Iligan City, among others. Cirilo Bautista's work Pedagogic bears significance to the Philippine culture since it focuses on the preservation of knowledge and education of the Filipinos. It also mirrors how our educators are trying to heighten and preserve our knowledge and intellectual capacity so we Filipinos can continue learning and improving ourselves. For our fourth literary piece, we have Aba, Nakakabasa na Pala Ako by Bob Ong. Aba, Nakakabasa na Pala Ako, published in 2001, is an autobiography written in Filipino, documenting author Bob Ong's school days, from his experiences on his first day of primary school to his disastrous university venture, and culminating with his entering into the education sector as an educator. The autobiography's long title is meant to be read phonetically as Aba, Nakakabasa na Pala Ako. When translated to English, it means, wow, I can actually read now. Bob Ong is the alias of a contemporary Filipino author known for using conversational writing techniques to create humorous and reflective depictions of Philippine life. The author's actual name and identity are unknown. Bob Ong was able to publish 7 books, namely Aba, Nakakabasa na Pala Ako, Mga Kwentong Shock in 2001, Bakit Baligtad Magbasa ng Libro ang Mga Pilipino in 2002, Ang Paboritong Libro ni Judas in 2003, Alamat ng Gubat in 2004, Stainless Longganisa in 2005, MacArthur in 2007, and Kapitan Sino in 2009. Aba, Nakakabasa na Pala Ako is as much a story of the Philippines and the country's culture as it is a story of Bob Ong and his life as a Filipino student. Though the book is only a man's autobiography, it goes beyond an austere life story from his perspective. It ventures a comical but critical look at the Philippine education system and calls for substantive change. And now we have our fifth literary piece, which is entitled Vibora, published in 2007 by Francisco Chanel Jose. Vibora by F. Chanel Jose was the nom de guerre of General Artemio Ricarte, the first chief of staff of the Philippine Army formed by the Aguinaldo Revolutionary Government after the Tejeros Assembly in 1897. The novel narrates the life of an accidental hero, Benjamin Singcol, during the Japanese occupation of the Philippines after escaping from Bataan during the Second World War. Singcol, in turn, narrates the life of Artemio Vibora Ricarte, whose identity is questioned, whether a patriot or a collaborator to the Japanese occupiers. The author, Francisco Chanel Jose, was a Filipino writer who was one of the most widely read in English. He was a national artist of the Philippines for literature in 2001, and 5 of Jose's works have won the Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for literature. His works, which are written in English, have been translated into 28 languages, including Korean, Indonesian, Czech, Russian, Latvian, Ukrainian, and Dutch. This literary piece, Vibora, by F. Chanel Jose, bears direct significance to the Philippine culture since the work itself tackles the historical event the Philippines faced during the Japanese occupation. And that would be all. Thank you so much for watching this video.